I'm very interested in the changing of the seasons and the natural landscape and how the colours change and how the pattern reflects that. It's mostly in the countryside. My work's not so much urban now. It used to be a bit more urban, a bit more architectural based, but it's changed a wee bit. If I see an image or a sky or a kind of landscape somewhere that I like, I try and recreate that, and I use my collagraph plates mostly to do that. I don't tend to use sketchbooks anymore. If I see something, I almost have like a wee photograph click moment in my head and try and remember that, and then I try and make the work from there. But my work is quite abstracted. It's not exactly like what I see at all. It's more of an impression of whatever it is I've got in my mind. It turns out probably to have a tiny element of the first idea I had, and it changes a lot as I make the work, but I'm okay with that. I quite like that, actually. I keep a lot of rubbish. I keep old newspapers, old stamps, old bits of wrapping paper. I keep anything that I find interesting, sometimes bus tickets or labels or anything like that, something that's got a nice shape or is slightly textured. I collage all these bits and bobs up and put them onto my plates, and my collagraph plates are mount card, and just very basic mount card. I cut into the mount card with a craft knife, and I cut shapes out, I stick shapes on, I overlay shapes, and I just really build up a textural composition, and then when I'm finished I varnish it, and then it's ready to print. And that's really when the fun begins, because you can add all the colour to your collagraph. Sometimes my prints are very cool, they're quite blue, lots of grey, and maybe that comes with the winter season, or sometimes they're warmer, and then maybe that's I'm thinking summer, spring season. So I think my works end up usually quite seasonal, and that just comes with the colours and me experimenting with colour. And I do really like colour. It's a main part of my work, and I make my plates to hold colour. I don't make them as monotone images, even though they're rich tonally. They're rich tonally because they're there to hold colour. And that's what my plates are really about. They're about colour and texture and print and pattern, and that comes from my love of textiles. I think my work's quite textile because I like the repetition of pattern. It goes back to me being interested in architecture slightly, where everything is structured to an extent, but it's creative as well. And I think a lot of my work is like that. It is abstract, but it's slightly structured, and that comes with how I print my work. Because usually I use one plate when I'm printing my work, the way I ink it up, I have to be quite structured in that, because usually I use one plate and lots of different colours. So that makes you decide in which way you have to make your plate and what colours to apply where. As my work's progressing, it's becoming, I think, a bit more textile-y, a bit more circular, a bit of overlaying of lots of different plates, and so my new work is quite rich texturally, I would say. I was going to do textiles, but decided printmaking was more for me because I love the process of printmaking.